Let me start with the web application. First of all, the few things that I think everyone mentioned in somehow. One is authentication. You need a proper login password, as someone, let me see who wrote it. So, yeah. So I got a question answer earlier on, that login password by Vishnu. So access to content also comes in the same way. So password access, yes, all those comes under authentication. And one thing which I wanted to add more is authorization. Authentication is login password. Are you a valid user or not? Second one, now suppose you may be a valid user. Suppose you go to any, maybe suppose you are an employee of a bank. You can go to a place where you are authorized to go, but you cannot go to a place where you do not have access to. So although you are an employee of a bank, but you do not have access to the other department, that comes under authorization, and we call those as roles. Do you have the role to access that web page, if we talk in our terms? Am I clear with authorization, please? Give me on a chat window, yes, no? Yeah, great. Next point which we will discuss is data integrity and confidentiality. So I'll discuss that in a few minutes. Let me come to this authentication part. This is a process of identifying some party to a web application. Party means I have this login and password. Just please authenticate me. This is the first step to get into any system, login and password. Prove to one another that they are acting on the behalf of specific entity. Maybe you are the user. After that, it is, I'm just skipping the theory bit faster manner so that I can give more time on the demos. So access control for resources, like do I have access to that web page? Some of the pages in a website may be accessed only to one person, suppose maybe admin, only admin can access it, or operation manager can access it. You do not give those access to those pages to the outside world. So, and those roles are defined in a file known as tomcat-user.xml that we will see in a minute. That's the important thing. All those roles and users are defined in tomcat-user.xml. We will see in a demonstration. After that, integrity, like you encrypt it, like someone talked about HTTPS, SSL. All those things comes under data integrity. And then confidentiality, you need to encrypt the data that you put on the website, so that like maybe its encryption could be using SSL and private matching key pair, certification. So all those things can be taken under confidentiality. So anyway, now how to define the security? Security of your web application could be defined in three ways. One is a deployment descriptor. Deployment descriptor, I'm hoping that you have some knowledge about web.xml, which is known as deployment descriptor. Before Java EE 6, mean to say up to Java EE 5, we used to define security in web.xml. We call it as deployment descriptor security, and it's also known as declarative security. Another way of defining is programmatically. You can define directly in your servlet itself. And third one is the annotation. Annotation is the new thing which got introduced in Java EE 6. So that's another way to define a security. So there are some annotations which we can utilize to define the security. And today Programming, I'm not going to discuss programmatical way, neither either a DD way. We call it deployment descriptor as DD in a short term. This is the old way. If someone is already certified on the SCWCD 5, so maybe he or she will go in the class. So today I'm going to discuss the very new feature which is known as annotation. So we'll discuss this new feature. So deployment descriptor security I'm not going to discuss today. So I'm skipping this part. I'm directly coming to a part which is known as using annotation. Now, for that, now let's start discussing this servlet security. Now, when you want to define annotations, so you can utilize this in your servlets. If you want to do JSP security, then probably you need to go through your DD security way. We will discuss that in another class, not today. So now we are talking about servlet security. So definitely this annotation is going to apply on your servlet. So annotation, servlet security annotation is used to specify a security constraint on a Java servlet. And it has some other parameters. One is known as HTTP method constraint and HTTP constraint. We will discuss the difference between these two later on. Are used within. I have specifically highlighted this word known as within. I will tell you that what is the exact meaning of it. That you should not be using this outside. You can use only within the servlet security itself. Servlet annotations to define the security constraints. These annotations, as I discussed earlier, that you can define the security in a deployment descriptor, which is nothing but web.xml file, or you can define the annotations. So these annotations provide an alternative mechanism for specifying security constraints declaratively by declaratively. So DD is also known as declarative security definition by security constraint element in a web.xml. So this paragraph we are not going to discuss. Just we are saying that this is a replacement, or I won't say replacement, it's an alternative. So this is the syntax of it. Syntax of @servlet security annotation is as follows. @servlet security, and these are the attributes. We will discuss all these attributes. Let's start it before I show all these things in a detailed way. So let me start the security. So I'll build all the demos step by step. So let's see. So let me create a project, dynamic web project. I'll say with security demo. I will create this web.deployment descriptor. Although this is optional, web.xml in Java E6, but few of the things you can only do with the help of web.xml. So here, let's create one servlet first. I'll say servlet. I'll say com.whizlabs. So class name, which is a servlet name, I will define it my servlet. Like this. That's it. Now let's look at the annotations. I'm assuming that you know you have a good idea about annotations in Java E6, at least web servlet annotation. This is to define a servlet as you define deployment descriptor, if you are familiar with it. And this is a URL pattern, that how you access it. So let me quickly do this. Let's keep the code bare minimum. let me comment this out so that I have only one method, which is a get method. So let's run this first and write something over here first. So I have written some contents to save some time. Now print writer is just creating a writer to write it on a browser. The data will be in text.html. Title of that web page will be design Whizlabs website. Whizlabs get servlet design. So just based on this get method. And that's it. So when I run this, so it says welcome get servlet design, which is a normal one. Now just to show you what was URL pattern, my servlet was this one. You can change it if you wanted to. That's in my, that's okay. Let's rerun this. That's okay. So you can see my over here. Now I want to make this as a secure, means whoever want to access this, they should have, they need to pass some username and password for the security. Now, before that, I said earlier that I would show you a file known as Tomcat user. I've already configured Tomcat 7 just to save some time here. And there's a file known as Tomcat user where you define all the users and so and their roles as well. So first you say you can define anything, admin, that's okay. So that's what we need to define. You can define the role here. Make a lot of modification. EMP so here I have two users here, Shri, or you can change the name. So I'll say user1, or you can say EMP1, and the password is also EMP1. Second one is, I'll say, and here I'm going to change as the guest1. So guest1 is the username and password which comes under the role known as guest, and employee1 is the one which comes for the role known as EMP. So I have two roles here, and there is another username NA which has the access in both the roles. Like he has access in both the roles known as EMP as well as guest. So he has more access as compared to other one. Any doubts so far? Please give me on the chat window before I start coding. Any questions here, please? Yes or no? Okay. So you understood it? Okay. Yes, someone has raised the hands. Just hold on, please. Someone has raised the hand. Let me find out. There's no one. Okay. Now, first of all, when it says servlet security, this is the annotation. As we discussed earlier, the annotation is known as @servlet security. So I'll say servlet security. That's it. We just put a servlet security. Let's run this and see if any security is there. The answer is no, there is no security. So just writing the servlet security doesn't mean it provides you any security. If we remember, there's some question here. Anybody have access to this XML, can view all the user and password? Then how it is secure? Yes, you are absolutely right. In today's world, we do not keep our access and password in this kind of XML file. You need to protect it with the help of encryption, which we call it as data encryption or password encryption. There are multiple ways. You need to encrypt it and put it in some either property window or with using some algorithm. You do not keep password and user like this. There's a way to do it. Or now just to give one more access, there is let me show you server.xml. This is the thing which by default it is visible to everyone. Now you can also do in this way that you can store your password in a database, and just show you. Let me show you if you have this. There is something known as rel. Yep, here it is. User database rel, which is a default in-memory user database. So there is another known as, I will not write it here, there is known as JDBC rel. So with the JDBC rel, you can store your password in the database. But yes, I'm totally agree with you. We do not keep password like this. It's just for the demonstration purpose. For that, you need to keep security in the context. Either you store it in a encrypted format, you use some tools to encrypt your passwords with a public private key, whatever, or you store your password in a database. There is something known as JDBC rel. You can search it out on that. Am I clear with the question, please? Yes, Jisha? Oh, yeah, great. Thank you. Now, one more thing, just for information, this is the path on the server side. This Tomcat user.xml is on the server side. On the server side, and the client who is trying to access the page, suppose it's my servlet, is on the client side. So he or she will just type this my URL to access its web page, and in between it will ask you some password which you need to enter. But still, you need to secure it on the server side as well. Client will not have direct access to it until and unless that person is a hacker. Now, just is a servlet security doesn't mean a security is provided. We need to give something over here, which is annotations. Now, to show the annotation, let's see. You have two things, value and HTTP method constraint. So we will talk about HTTP method constraint first. Let's go with this, equal to HTTP TP method constraint. Now, just to make one thing more sure, I'm using this HTTP method constraint within the servlet security. Even you can do it like HTTP method constraint, but this will not work. This is not the right way to use annotation. Java doesn't need to do something about it, but this is not the right way. If you want to use it or secure your data, it has to be done within the servlet security annotations. That's why I wrote earlier. I will show you that way also. I wrote here with it. Specifically, I wrote this. Now for this, it's just trying to ask method, which HTTP method, because in a servlet you have get method, you have put method, post method, delete method, trace method. So which method you want to access. It is possible for get method, suppose you want employee rule to be accessed, or maybe guest for a get method, let that any role, any user who's in the role guest access can access it. But for post, I need person or a user who have the access of a role known as EMP. So what I'm going to do here is, I will say, first I need to define which method. I'll say value, it's a string, equal to which method? I will say get method. Write it in a capital please, always. And you need to ask which role. I will say role allowed. Just make sure that it is, we keep it big. So I'll say roles allowed. Which role you want to allow? I will say maybe. Of course, you can put it if you want to put more. You can put it like this and put comma. You can add as many as rows you would like to. But currently, I'm just keeping it for the guest access. So let me check out this. Yeah, guest GEST. Okay, let's click. So let's start with this now. There's one more setting which you need to do. It says access to denied, but actually what I did was allowed, but it says in a different way. Now there's one more setting which you need to do. We will not get into much detail of that. In web.xml, you need to add something known as login config, learning as an authentication method. It's just the basic. There is 4 types of security available, but I'm currently going for the most default one, which is the basic. So let's run it again. I'll not explain that in a detail, but it's there. Yeah, now you get the login and password. First of all, thing you need to look at into your Tomcat users. My servlet says that for get method, you need to have a role user which has a role guest. So it's a guest one and guest one, and employee one is not the one. So I will go for employee one first to just show you that it does not work. It says it's denied, and rightly so. Now let's go for the guest one. So I'll say guest one. I don't think it has taken guest one. So I got the guest servlet assigned. Very basic way of writing. So let's review it once again before I go ahead. It says servlet security is annotation, and HTTP method constraint is attribute. HTTP method constraint has to be written within the servlet security. Now it's a method by method. First of all, it says which method? It says get method. Which role you want to allow? I'll say guest. Now, any question here, please, before I go forward? Any question, please? No, Dishan is okay. Yes, I would like to have views from Vishnu, Sheetal, and David. Everyone is clear about it? Yes, good, great. Oh, thank you. Okay, great, very good, very well. Now, I'm going a bit forward now. Now I'm taking a post method also into account. So I'll say, I will change it here to post, just to make it sure. Now, first of all, a post method cannot be accessed directly. Whenever I say right click means it will always access a get method, nothing else. Post method cannot be accessed directly until and unless the request has from a browser. You can only have a get access. If you want a post access, you need to go in a different way. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a HTML file. So I'll say maybe index.html. So here I will say form. I'm expecting that you know it, so I'll not, so that I don't have to go into detail. Method, by default it is always get method. So it's, and you can change it to post if you wanted to. So I'll say type, instead of text I'll say submit, and what else? Okay, that's great. That's it. By default is get method. That's great. When I say equal, it says give me, I'll say guest one, and guest one is done. Then similarly, now if I write post here, or you can even put control space, you will get it. That's not a big issue. What happened to this? So anyway, post design is also shown here. But the thing was, if I look into my servlet again, this file, I did not put any security to the post. Only thing I did was get it. Now, what I'm going to do here is, first of all, when I say HTTP constraint, I'm going to show you something. HTTP method constraint, it says it's an array of it. I can create very well an array here. So I'll say HTTP method constraint array. So array I will create in this way. This is one way. This is first array which I created. Similarly, I will create here as a second element of the array. So I'll say HTTP method constraint value. Now I'll say for post, comma. Now it says rules allowed equal to that's fine. If you don't put out also by single user, it's okay. Empty. Any difference in this? Okay, so I think that's fine enough. Yep, that's good enough. So for post method, now here I need to change it. Sorry, yep, that's correct. For index, here I say post. For post, guest will not work. I have to write emp1. So I'll say run it. It asks for something. So if I write here guest one, suppose first I will try with the wrong one. Guest one. Definitely you are not allowed. And let me run this once again. So it asks me something. So I will say emp1. I will say emp1. There you are. So I can say that get is allowed to everyone. For this get method, which is a generalized method, it is accessible to guest, maybe some more users, or even I can write, suppose EMP can access it. That's okay. Post only MEMP can access it, or even I can write it in this way. Any question on this, please, before I go forward? Any question on the chat window? Quickly, I need to ask some question also. I have a shortage of time. In case of failure, messages are not user friendly. Today, user need a more friendly message. Absolutely correct. For that, there is I haven't gone into it today in detail. There's something known as form-based authentication. So today, what I'm going discussing is a basic authentication, where the message which you get is not a good message to display. But in a form base, you can write your own error pages, and even you can redirect them to a page where they can start afresh. So form-based authentication is the right way of doing it. Yes, you are absolutely correct in that. So for that, form-based authentication is the right method rather than basic authentication. So actually, my today's agenda is to not show good-looking error pages. My agenda of today's demonstration is to touch upon a new topic, which is a new topic in Java EE 6. That was annotation. That's exactly what I'm trying to cover today. But yes, you are right. Form-based authentication is the right way of doing it. Am I clear, Jishan? Have I answered your question? Yes, thank you very much. It's a form-based authentication. You can try it yourself. If any question is there, let me know. I can answer it later on. So here, now, earlier I said, okay, not this. So we have used method constraint, which is method by method. You can specify for every method a different thing. Now, there is a HTTP constraint also. So let's see what it does. First of all, let's look at the difference. HTTP method constraint annotation, which applies to a specific HTTP method. Here I have 4 or 5 more methods. What I'm going to do with that? So for that, I'll say, if you want to, suppose you have 2 or 3 more methods, and you say that, I'm sorry. Sorry for the inconvenience. Now, suppose I have 2 or 3 more methods, and I'll say for post apply this specialized security. For all other methods, let the security remains the same, or same user. So that's called, it's not specific to a single method. It is generalized for all the remaining methods in a servlet. So here I can say, let me show you this. There's another method known as post. So I'm just putting it this way. Or let it post, that's fine. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to, I have only 2 methods, so I will create security accordingly. So here I'll see, let's see, value, cool. As I said, discussed in the annotation, in the syntax, value is HTTP constraint. So we'll say @HTTP constraint colon basis. Now say, it does not say any method. It says whatever method remains, whatever you define is defined. For get only HTTP method constraint will work. Like it will have access only to EM guest method. And for rest all the method like post, maybe put or delete, there is a generalized rule which we are going to apply. I say role allowed. Which role you want to allow? I will say a role allowed is EMP. For Sorry for this. For get method, guest will be allowed, and rest for all methods, this one is allowed. Put a comma here. This is a generalized way. You could have more methods also, maybe do delete, do post, do head. So rest for all the methods, this annotations will apply. Let me run this. So I'm taking post, and I have not defined any. For post, I have not defined anything. I have commented this. So it says our generalized one should work, which is EMP. It will ask me. So if I put guest one, definitely it will not allow me to do so. Definitely that's correct. This is what I wanted as well. Let me do this. So what I wanted to do is EMP1. That's what is on. So let's remove this. And EMP1. It should work. And yes, that's exactly what we want. So HTTP method constraint, the difference, as I said earlier, that HTTP method, let me go to the slide please. HTTP method constraint, it applies to a specific method, and more general for all the remaining methods. HTTP constraint annotation is going to work. Any questions on this please? On the chat window, on your questions panel, please go ahead, write. Someone want to speak, let me know. No, thanks. Everyone is clear? Sheetal and David, Vishnu, Anand. Yes, all good, great. Very clear, thank you very much. So let's go ahead and now solve the question. Few questions, and I will come to a few more topics. There's a shortage of time as well. But now, first question. Tell me how many are correct. In servlet 3.0, this is servlet 3.0 security. Which statements are true? There could be more than one. Give me on the question window, on your chat window, please. Okay, and has given us his answers. And rest, please. Sheetal, Zishan, hurry up. Claudia, A, B, and G. Okay. Hurry up. Type quickly, please. Shortage of time. Okay. There are more answers I'm getting. A, B, C, D. Okay. Okay, great. So let's now discuss it. So I will shift to my slide as well to show you the answer in a better way. Sorry. If I look at this, I think I need to go at the top. How do you define security? Three-way: deployment descriptor, annotation, and programmatical way. Let's go to the question, please. To the deployment descriptor, yes, this is correct. Programmatically, yes, it is correct. How to do it? That's a different question. Security constraints are managed using @web servlet security. Do we have @web servlet security? Let's go to our program, please. It is servlet security, no web servlet security. You don't have web servlet security, nothing like that. So that answer is incorrect. So this one is incorrect. Similarly, it's here also is asking for web server security. Anyway, that's a different thing. So gone. Security constraints are managed using @security, servlet security. Yeah. So the answer for this is A, B, and E. Am I correct? Any question on this? Is everyone getting what I'm trying to say? So the answer for this is A, B, and E. Vishnu, David, everyone got the answer, please? So let me go to the if everyone got it, no questions, let me go to the second one. So read this please and try to give me, I'm putting 2 lines just to show just to show it on a same page. Now give me the answer for this please. What do you think the right answer for this question? It says A, okay, and said A, and would, sorry, Sheeta said A and said B. Thank you. Anyone else please? Vishnu, David, Shishan, waiting for your answers. A, Anand said A, B, okay. Now, as this package is fine, import, all statements are okay. This is my servlet, written something, that's okay, it will write. Now, we need to concentrate here. Web servlet is just what it says, URL. Now, as I said earlier, the @servlet security is the one which defines your annotation. @HTTP servlet does not do anything until and unless it is within the servlet security. Now let's although it shows that deny. I'll show you this later on, deny part as well. Okay, let me show you this first here. Now here I'm going to do is, there is something known as role cementing. It says deny and permit, only 2 way. I'll detail that what it is in a moment. It says deny all. As I said earlier, that is a generalized one. So for get, guest is allowed. For all rest, I want it to be denied. And if I run this, it should give me an error. It says role may not be specified when using deny. So you cannot use roles and deny together. Where it is, let me show you this. Roles may not be specified when using deny. Let's go ahead and discuss here. So when you say roles, you are saying allow EMP but deny all. So that is not going to work. So you should be going for only one. When I say submit query, it says access to the denied. So post method comes in that, and it is denied for everyone. Now this is one part, but I was trying to show you something different here. Now, sorry. So I'm going to put this as a comment part. Toggle comment. Sorry. And document Tesco part. So it says role allowed EMP. Sorry. Anyway, get design. So if you go from here as well, it did not ask me for anything. This is commented. It did not ask me for EMP. So HTTP constraint is not the right way of using here. So the only way you should be using it within the servlet securities. So this is not the right way. Compiler won't give you an error, but this is not the place where you should be defining your constraint. So the answer for this is A. Am I clear with this, please? Yeah, great. So maybe just a small part I will discuss more before I wind up. So I have discussed these two, roles allowed and get and all those things. So just wanted to show you something more. There are a few things as I was discussing here, so I will discuss here itself. Transport guarantee. Transport guarantee is the one which you should be using it for transporting your data. I'm not going to discuss that today. So you have just for denying and permit. By default it is permit, of course, and you can say that deny. If you are saying deny, then you have to remove these rules. Simple as that. That's the one way. So I'm not going to do that here. Even you have all the 4 parameters, the transport guarantee and role semantic. You can put that here as well. So it's a deny. So that's the get. I can even run from here as well. That's okay. So you should not be using roles when you are using deny. You can remove this list. That's okay. Keep it as an empty. So this is denied because by default a get request will be taken off. It says no. Denied get request. So that's how it is done. So you can use permit here. So only 2 deny and permit. Any question here, please, before I go ahead with the question? Any questions here, please? No. So okay, just one more clarification here. If I look for the HTTP constraint, you have 3 parameters: role allowed, 3 attributes I mean to say, role allowed, transport guarantee, and value. And if I look for here in this thing, so by default anyway transport guarantee is coming, as we know that. Transport guarantee, empty role semantic, role allowed, and value. So the only thing which does not have is the value parameter. So difference between 2 is in attribute as well. You don't have a value attribute over here. So that's the main difference. One of the difference I would say, because here you don't specify that use for this method or that method. It's for every method, remaining method which has not been defined here. So if get has been defined here, it is for rest all method like do delete, do put, do post for every method. So anything else which I haven't discussed? This one I have done. Specific HTTP method, specifying a constraint that applies to all remaining HTTP methods which has not been defined here. This one I have discussed. Transport guarantee anyway. Security I'm not going to discuss that today. HTTP constraint does not have only one part. Sorry, empty role semantic. It does not have that. This one I have discussed. Only 2 deny and permit I have already shown you. Now let me come to the questions, please. Okay. So now this is a question. And let me make something short here, please. To get get everything on the same page. So that's okay. Now tell me, what is the thing it's looking for? This is the part where you need to concentrate more, of course. What could be the right answer here? I have 4 more minutes to some. Answers please quickly. Yes, Jishan, Vishnu, and David, Anand. Answer says B. Okay, it's fine. Okay, N has given the answer. Jishan has given the answer. Vishnu also has given answers. Okay. So everyone given the, probably everyone given the answer B. So let me show you the answer here. At the rate servlet equally fine. It says role deny. Yeah, that's okay. HTTP method constraint at the rate HTTP method name get. That's fine. Empty role semantic as we were using earlier. So which you must have in your mind. Role semantic. Empty role semantic dot allow. Dot allow. If I look here, I have only two ways, deny and permit. I don't have something known as allow. So the right answer for this is above code does not compile. Am I clear here, please? Yes, great. I knew that someone you may have missed it. Okay, now I'm going to twist this answer, so I'll say permit. Now what is going to be the answer? Now tell me. A, get. Okay, A, answer A. B, okay. Now, B, okay. Okay, that's great. So let's discuss it. Now the answer which we need to discuss here is, if I say method name get and I don't specify the rule there. So let me go there, and what I'm going to take out is the rules here. By default, my request is going to be get. So I'll say run as, finish this. You get the answer. So by default, if no role is specified, that means every role is good. Okay, just I'll come in a minute, Vishnu. Empty role semantic is, okay. It's an enum. I haven't discussed it in much detail. Role semantic says it's a numeration which has two things, deny and permit. It says the do you want, it says, let me show you here. It says get method, role semantic, do you want this to be allowed or do you want this to be denied? So here says deny and permit. Similarly, it's an enum which say that, suppose here you say value deny. Here I'm saying that rest all the methods except the get method, I want them to be denied. If someone access for a post method or other method, let it be denied. It's just to say that do you really want to give this access to the outside world? First of all, to all users. Second one, do you specify the rules that allow to only to that role or this role? Or deny means deny to everyone. It's just to make sure that are you sure that you want to give access? If you say permit, which is by default, it says yes, access it. If you say deny, tell them no, I don't want to give you this access. There's an enum which we can discuss more in detail later on. Am I clear with this?